Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. The golden-flamed rock giant swung his hammer with all his strength, and the hammer flew at golden-horned beast with a thunderous rumble. The force within the golden thread aurora domain was rendered defenseless. One strike from this hammer and stars like the Star Traveler, or the neutron star would shatter and be reduced to naught. Even the black hole would have crumbled beneath such a strike. The golden-flamed rock giant growled as he deployed his strongest strike. The environment within the original star did not shatter, but it was not because the hammer was not powerful enough. It was because the environment within the original star had unique traits. The hammer collided with the golden light blade of a pair of wings. With hands still grasping his hammer, the golden-flamed rock giant was thrown backward and propelled into the air where his rocky legs lost contact with solid ground. He was forcibly suspended in mid-air. That loathsome space beast, the golden-flamed rock giant roared in rage. Crush the prison race. Golden-horned beast transformed into a ray of light and made a turn back before landing again. The golden light blade sliced through the air, looking as if it could make mincemeat out of every obstacle in the way. Strike after strike. The golden-flamed rock giant was not as agile as golden-horned beast with its shawu wings. Moreover, the golden thread aurora domain had met with heavy resistance and was attacked under pressure. Golden-horned beast was enormous. Hence, his shawu wings could spread as wide as tens of thousands of miles. Should it flap one wing down, the golden-flamed rock giant being would not be able to hide even if it wanted to. Remote ocean body was like the Dinghai divine needle, as he stood before the black blade. While watching the two 12-winged knights of the prison race in the distance, he was also manipulating the gigantic beast god, while it hunted down the two knights of the prison race. Beast god was roaring while racing in mid-air quick as a phantom. The moment the two black-winged knights made it slightly further away, the beast god would no longer give chase. The beast god was tasked with guarding a certain area around the black blade. If the two knights of the prison race trespassed this area, they would be attacked. It was imperative to understand that the beast god was a true treasure in the form of a spiritual force weapon, and had an extremely swift flying speed. Now that it was coupled with golden thread aurora domain, the moment the two black-winged great beings of prison race set foot within this guarded area, they would be knocked out within a split second. A black-winged great being was sent flying out straight away. The other black-winged great charging into that area from the opposite direction, approached the gradually ascending black blade at top speed. Roar! Beast god let out a roar and set off in the opposite direction, so quickly that he left a trail behind him. Right away, he rammed into the black-winged great being with a loud crash, swatting it into the distance. What should we do? We can't force our way in, said one of the black-winged beings. The two 12 black-wings great beings traveled far away enough while transmitting their message to the golden-flamed rock giant. That spiritual force weapon is way too fast. And they have a domain-type treasure. We have used up 3% of our godly bodies, yet that loathsome purple pupa beast has not even used 1/1000th of its godly body. We can't afford to go on like this. The golden-flamed rock giant gave a thunderous roar of rage. He was at his wits' end. Although he was huge, the portion of the godly body he used up was small. He was aware that the golden-horned beast before him would use up an amount even smaller than he had. Even if he were to set his entire godly body ablaze, the golden-horned beast might not even have used up 1% of its godly body. But the golden-flamed rock giant suddenly transmitted a confident response. Ha ha ha. I can sense great beings of other races approaching. Fight a little while longer. These two space beasts will definitely feel flustered when the other beings arrive. That is when we seize our opportunity. The two 12 blackwings great beings scanned their surroundings, instantaneously feeling joyful. As expected, two troops appeared coming from two different directions. Remote Ocean Body said, noticing the new arrivals. That is a group from the Northern Territory Alliance, a total of 3 Universe Knights. And the other group is from the Hong Alliance. They have 2 Universe Knights. Remote Ocean Luo Feng looked around and made a speedy judgment. Given my current identity, the group from the Hong Alliance will see me only as one of the Space Beast Alliance, and they'll react accordingly. There was no way he could bother himself with any other concerns. He had to deal with the 3 universe Knights of the Prison Race, while keeping an eye on the black blade that was gradually ascending from the ground. Gradually, it arose. The entire tip of the black blade had nearly emerged. Almost there, it is going to come out fully soon. Luo Feng was anxious and expectant. Hurry, hurry, hurry. If I hope to stand any chance at all, it must be fully revealed before the other groups arrive. The 2 troops flew over quickly. Although the members from the Hong Alliance were not humans, they made their judgment quickly. It is a valuable, definitely a true treasure. And still in the midst of being born. The treasure has yet to recognize its master. Hurry up. While the Space Beast group and the group from the Prison Race are engaged in a deadlock, we should quickly grab the treasure right out from under them. Meanwhile, the 3 Universe Knights of the Northern Territory Alliance troop were thrilled, realizing they had been presented with a great opportunity. They took off for the treasure, as though their lives depended on it. The Northern Territory Alliance was said to be the alliance consisting of the greatest number of races in the universe. A tremendous number of races gathered as one, bringing the number of Universe Knights within the Northern Territory Alliance to an extreme high. For example, in the open-air public square of the World of Glory of the Ancestral God School, the number of heirs from the Hong Alliance was merely in the thousands, while that of the Northern Territory Alliance was in the tens of thousands. There was a sizable difference, meaning that within the original star, troops of Universe Knights from the Northern Territory Alliance were seen more than any other group. When compared with the 6 pinnacle races like the human race, the distribution of resources, like treasures for great beings of similar power, were fewer in number. Out of the 3 Universe Knights of the Northern Territory Alliance, one was over 30 feet tall. He had purple gold plates all over his body, and he flew toward the black blade at top speed. Upon careful observation, he started to show a hint of confusion. He said, "That seems to be impossible. It can't be. Hurry. Hurry. Hurry." Luo Feng agonized with anxiety. The black blade may have ascended to its tip, but it was emerging much more slowly than the approach of the groups of beings flying toward it. The 2 troops of Universe Knights from the Hong Alliance and the Northern Territory Alliance were still approaching at a consistently high rate of speed, even though they were within the Golden Thread Aurora domain. "You can't make it." The golden-flamed rock giant of the prison race laughed aloud. "Space Beast, you will not be able to get that true treasure. It is not yours to claim." Golden Horned Beast let out a thunderous roar of rage. Golden Horned Beast waved its wings suddenly, immediately turning back to the area surrounding the black blade. Remote Ocean Luo Feng also took a step back to stand beside the black blade. "Come on." Remote Ocean Body and Golden Horned Beast were both standing near the black blade, obviously guarding it with their lives. They just had to endure for a short while longer, and this true treasure would be theirs. "I would stand against greater than Universe Knights than all of you." Remote Ocean Luo Feng thought. "Even if you were Universe Overlords, Golden Horned Beast has the Force armor. It is fearless. My Remote Ocean Body may be slightly weaker in terms of strength. The Golden King armor can only be activated up to its 2nd form, which means it could weaken the power of material attacks to 101,000. It may be weaker than Force armor, but Remote Ocean Body is huge. Defending with its sheer brute strength should be possible for a short while at least." Remote Ocean Body and Golden Horned Beast were like 2 mountains. One stood by the black blade while the other hovered above it to ward off any beings who dared to venture near. Meanwhile, the groups from the Hong Alliance and the Northern Territory Alliance both realized that the other groups had appeared. "Kill. Kill. Grab the true treasure. Hurry up, the other 5 troops are arriving soon. We need to hurry." 3 groups, the Hong Alliance, the Northern Territory Alliance, and the Prison Race, comprised of 8 senior Universe Knights. Plus, the Space Beast group was charging toward the center. The 3 troops transformed into rays of light simultaneously and charged. Ha! Golden horned beast immediately spread its wings and stood at the forefront. Its wings suddenly increased in size. The Shawu wings, being a true treasure, could change colors at will, and this time, they were a magnificent gold. They spread wide open without inhibition, expanding outward in all directions. They became gigantic, easily spreading over 100,000 miles in a mere instant. The monstrous pair of wings surrounded the black blade like a mother hen protecting her chicks. Anyone who wanted to grab the black blade would have to forcefully move those wings out of the way. Attack! Ha ha ha! He actually thinks to resist us. Kill him! The 8 senior universe knights launched their attacks as one. One knight from the Hong Alliance held a flying wheel, an ordinary true treasure, and was exceptionally generous with his attacks. Numerous crashes sounded as attacks were thrown towards the golden wings. Golden horned beast stood firmly within the swamp, its 4 strong limbs like heavenly pillars. The depths of the swamp were unable to even submerge its claws. Its wings were propped up high and mighty. The 8 senior universe knights' joint effort boosted their power to the level of universe overlords. They struck repeatedly. I must stand with this bit of power, Golden horned beast said. He stood his ground, stable as a mountain. Regardless of the number of strikes dealt, the Shawu wings and the force armor combined to weaken each impact. With these treasures, combined with its gigantic godly body, warding off the attacks was a piece of cake. The 8 senior universe knights from the Northern Territory Alliance, the Hong Alliance, and the prison race instantly concluded that this situation was beyond their expectations. Those wings are a true treasure. It must be a true treasure. Few treasures can expand to such a size. No matter how big a treasure can be, to be jointly attacked by 8 senior universe knights, the size should reduce, or it would disintegrate. That pair of wings must be a true treasure. Ordinary treasures could be destroyed by some universe overlords. Even for a top-tier treasure. Whether it shrank to ward off attacks, or intentionally enlarged so that the impact of the attack would be weakened, no matter what it did, escaping unscathed was out of the question. Yet the combined attacks of 8 senior universe knights proved futile against Golden Horned Beast. At that moment, Golden Horned Beast and Remote Ocean Body shifted their gazes over to the Black Blade. The tip of the Black Blade was finally out of the swamp, and it was now hovering over the spot where it had emerged. Its aura was now fully restrained. It seemed like an ordinary treasure. Treasure, come to me. Golden Horned Beast gave a deep command. Immediately, a trace of godly power headed for the Black Blade, ready to brand the blade with his life imprint. Luo Feng infiltrated the Black Blade with a trace of his godly power, and sealed his life imprint on it, making the blade recognize him as its owner. Golden Horned Beast's eyes glinted with confusion. What's going on? Why is there no information being transferred? Remote Ocean Luo Feng was also looking down at the Black Blade, perplexed. Usually, when a treasure or true treasure recognized someone as its owner, it would transfer information to the owner's mind. The information was generally a description of the weapon, or the techniques used to utilize the valuables. There were, of course, exceptions, like Star Map, Shawu Wing, and Tower Pearl. If the great being who created the valuable had left information behind, there would be information contained in the valuable. Tower Pearl was a part of Star Tower, and so it didn't contain any information. As for Star Map, it was an ordinary true treasure created by Zhuoshan, who with a picture scroll and lots of seal stars. That was why some true treasures and ordinary treasures didn't contain any information. However, according to the intel Kwong Ju Knight had gathered, true treasures and ordinary treasures that came into being on original stars were bred by the universe. They were supposed to carry information innately. This one did not seem to have anything. Weird, Luo Feng was baffled. Hong. 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 The 8 senior universe knights attacked the wing of Golden Horned Beast relentlessly, disrupting Luo Feng's thoughts. Golden Horned Beast shrank its giant black blade and merged it with his body. Howl! He howled, making the sky and land tremble. At the same time, the gigantic golden wing quickly reduced in size from hundreds of thousands of miles wide to tens of thousands of miles wide, and he revealed golden horned beast and remote ocean body. The 8 supreme beings were disappointed. The true treasure is taken. It has recognized him as its master. Goddamn space beast. Let's go. They all glared at remote ocean body and golden horned beast body. The 3 great beings of the prison race left first. The other 5 universe knights of the Hong Alliance and the Northern Territory Alliance were also upset and gave up on their hopes of claiming the valuable. They all knew that they stood a chance if the valuable hadn't recognized him as its owner. However, the only way they could capture the valuable was to kill the golden horned beast, and golden horned beast was able to defend himself against all 8 of them. If he wanted to flee, there was no way they could stop him. They were all upset. The size of the golden horned beast was what stopped them from taking the valuable by force. His godly body is too enormous, and our godly bodies might be burned out before we can kill him. We should have gotten here soon. The true treasure fell into the hands of space beasts. Ha ha. You guys are late. Golden horned beast said in a hoarse voice. You just got lucky. Let's go. The 3 universe knights of Northern Territory Alliance and Hong Alliance left. Golden horned beast body and remote ocean body watched them go. He saw one team after another coming here, following the energy signature of the true treasure. Go. Remote ocean body shrank to 30 feet tall, and golden horned beast shrank to around 300 feet long. Golden horned beast waved his wings, with remote ocean body sitting on his back. That space beast has got the valuable, grumbled a new arrival. Let's go. We need to wait until next time. Is it a top-tier set treasure, or an ordinary true treasure? The universe knights speculated about what had happened with their companions. They were all puzzled, but they had to leave. On the original stars, those who were closest to the valuables when they appeared were the luckiest ones. Here, great beings needed both power and luck. The 3 universe knights of the Northern Territory Alliance were flying back to the place they inhabited, the apex of a small mountain. Those space beasts are indeed lucky. The Space Beast Alliance is mysterious and powerful. Those 2 have a domain-type valuable, a wing true treasure, and now a black blade true treasure. They were all talking among themselves, and the universe knight made of metal was ruminating. That pattern. It is that valuable. The purple metal knight's eyes gleamed. He isolated them from the surroundings with his godly power, and looked to the strange beast knight, with hundreds of soft dorsal fins around his mouth. 100 Raccoon Knight, he said, you have a body at the center of our alliance, right? Send a message to our alliance and tell them that we just found the godly blade of Blade River Luo. Blade River Luo. Both universe knights were dazed. 100 Raccoon Knight's eyes glinted with excitement. The legendary top-tier true treasure, Blade River Luo. Blade River Luo was the most attractive true treasure in a century after the original stars had opened. A giant tomb came out from underground. It was the tomb of the Blade Tomb. An ancient tablet on the Blade Tomb told that there were many godly blades and several ordinary true treasures. And the most precious of all were the components of Blade River Luo, which were made of a compass and 9 godly blades. Once all the godly blades were integrated into the compass, it could become a boundless blade river, and it was omnipotent. If all the 9 blades merged into one, the power was even more terrific. It was a domain-type treasure, but it had the attacking power of a pinnacle true treasure. The compass itself was already a domain-type ordinary true treasure. Its power could be improved with one blade blending in. The more the godly blades inside the compass, the more powerful the compass would become. It would reach the perfect status once all the godly blades merged with it. It was such a superb true treasure. The last time the compass showed itself, it only carried one black blade. A godly blade of Blade River Luo. Where did we find it? 100 Raccoon Knight asked. Where were we? The moment the other universe knight talked, the purple metal universe knight said, it's the true treasure, the black blade the 2 space beasts obtained. I've seen the photos of Blade River Luo, and the black blade we just saw was exactly the same as the blade in the photos. Black Raccoon Knight was startled. Go. Go tell our alliance. The Purple Metal Knight shouted. Sure. 100 Raccoon Knight nodded. Many supreme beings who entered the original stars had left their clone with their own race, but there were also some who left their original bodies behind. Clones were able to send simple messages, but they weren't capable of dealing with important issues. My clone has entered the center of our alliance. A universe master is meeting me, 100 Raccoon Knight murmured. After a long while. I've told the universe master what happened, and I've replicated the shape of the black blade using my mind. The universe master I spoke with confirmed that it's indeed a component of Blade River Luo. There are few true treasures, and it's almost impossible to have true treasures of the same pattern, and come into being on the original stars, in such a short period of time. It's got to be a godly blade of Blade River Luo. The universe master asked us not to take any actions. He has told some universe overlords closest to this original star, and Fumo Master to come here. And he has marked our contribution. 100 Raccoon looked at his companions, and they all smiled. The Northern Territory Alliance immediately arranged great beings to go to the original star Luo Feng was staying on. Inside the virtual universe, in an open-air bar, many universe knights of the Hong Alliance city gathered. Almost all the great beings who entered original stars left clones, and they used them to connect to the virtual universe. This was how they conveyed information. Another true treasure showed up. See? It's this one. I saw it myself. What true treasure? Come here and see. On which original star? Everyone was interested in what happened on the original stars. Look, this is the photo of it. A bald-headed, golden-eyed great being covered with body hair was showing everyone a photo. This true treasure surfaced from the swamp. Unfortunately, I arrived late, and the true treasure was captured by two great beings of the Space Beast Alliance. A true treasure. What a pity. You can't get the true treasure even it's right in front of you, and what's worse, it was taken by the Space Beast Alliance. What could I do? The bald-headed universe knight said. Both great beings of the Space Beast Alliance have godly bodies of around 6,000 miles long. Do you really think I can still get it back? Even universe overlords would have a hard time facing such gigantic bodies. Isn't this the godly blade of Blade River Luo? Yeah. It's the godly blade of Blade River Luo. Everyone was thrilled. Meanwhile, Luo Feng was walking toward the open-air bar. So strange, he thought. The valuable on the original star has already recognized me as its master, but it still hasn't sent me any information. Luo Feng was bewildered, and thus he connected to the virtual universe, and came to the place where the great beings of Hong Alliance shared information. He wanted to ask some of his friends about it. Kwangju Knight, Luo Feng shouted when he saw Kwangju Knight. Kwangju turned toward him and beamed. Blade River. Luo Feng walked towards him, smiling. Suddenly, he frowned as a being caught his attention. It's him. Luo Feng recognized that bald universe knight. It was one of the two universe knights of the Hong Alliance who had attacked him. When Luo Feng's mind was still in the virtual universe, three great beings gathered in the forest under the whirlpool portal on the original star where Luo Feng was staying. We arrived here as fast as we could under the order of our alliance, said one of them. It seems we're the first ones to arrive. Yes, replied another. Once those space beasts find out that the godly black blade is a part of Blade River Luo, they'll all rush to that whirlpool portal. If they succeed, they can do teleportation and god country transportation, and we can't catch them anymore. We must safeguard this place and stop them from doing that. So, we'll just wait here, the third one said in a deep voice. There will be a group of universe overlords arriving here, and Fumo Master may also arrive. That's only a godly blade of Blade River Luo. How many contribution points do you think we can earn? In my opinion, Wang Jiao Knight can guard this place while Beifeng Knight and I attack him first. Beifeng Knight and I together could kill those space beasts. Well. Why are you still hesitating? Said the one with the deep, low voice. Other universe overlords will arrive soon. Are you on board, Beifeng Knight? I am, said a timid voice. Okay. I'm on board too, but remember, if we get the godly blade, we need to divide the contribution points equitably among us three. Of course. They looked at each other and smiled. Two creatures flew up in the sky. One of them was around 100 feet tall. He was a repulsive creature, with 3 horns on his head and eyes like a hawk. He had thick, sturdy arms, and he grasped an ancient spear with 3 bloodstains on the tip. As for the other one, he was around 30 feet tall, and was entirely enveloped by a black cape. Even his face was covered by a black mask. Beifeng Knight, you can attack his soul first, said the 3-horned knight holding the ancient spear. If you can't kill them directly, you can affect them. Then I'll engage in close combat with them with my burning godly body, my ultimate techniques, and my chi blood spear. Even if the space beasts are wearing ordinary true treasure armor, my terrific attack can rival that from a universe master. Their armor might only be able to weaken the attack to 1/1000th, or even 1/100th. Your chi blood spear is a might senior true treasure, said Beifeng Knight, smiling behind his black mask and black cape. We'll definitely succeed. Chi Blood Palace leader was a renowned universe overlord in the Northern Territory Alliance. He had 3 true treasures, and the weapon he used for close quarters combat was a senior true treasure. Together with his close quarters combat techniques, he could even fight with a universe master for a short time. Once he attacked with his full strength, it would surpass the limit of an ordinary true treasure. Within the limit, the third form of an ordinary true treasure armor could weaken the material attack by 99.99%. However, once the attack surpassed the limit of the true treasure, its function would sharply decline and could only weaken it to 1/1000th, 1/100th, 1/10th. It might even break. That was why ordinary true treasures were disdained by universe masters. Although they have larger godly bodies, I can kill them with my Chi Blood Spear by attacking them several times. Chi Blood Palace leader transmitted the voice while flying at high speed. Beifeng Knight, just use your soul attack to stop them from running away. I heard that the golden horned beast has a winged true treasure. Just leave it to me. Beifeng Knight and Chi Blood Palace leader raced toward Luo Feng like 2 flashes of light. Luo Feng was the first one to arrive at the birthplace where the Black Blade unveiled itself, so the Northern Territory Alliance quickly extrapolated that Luo Feng must be staying in an area close to the birthplace. That was how Beifeng Knight and Chi Blood Palace leader knew where they should be heading. Inside the virtual universe, Luo Feng looked at the bald universe knight in the distance, shocked by what he saw. Him? One of the 2 universe knights from the Hong Alliance who fought against us for the valuable. At the same time, a large group of universe knights gathered around that bald universe knight. They seemed to be engaged in an exciting conversation. Luo Feng listened in, hearing every word that was being said. Blade River Luo. A godly blade of Blade River Luo. Rumor has it that the compass of Blade River Luo was obtained by a universe master of the Thorn Ring Alliance. That universe master. He must be dying to acquire other blades, and will be willing to get the blades at an extremely high cost. It looks like an ordinary true treasure, but it's at least as valuable as a senior true treasure. That's right. Blade River Luo will be perfect only when all the blades are gathered, and as long as there's one blade hiding with us, the Hong Alliance, the Thorn Ring Alliance will get it back. What a shame. Those 2 space beasts got it. A godly blade of Blade River Luo, thought Luo Feng in surprise. Taken by 2 space beasts. Unfortunately, I was late, said the bald universe knight. He shook his head. The picture of the black blade was still floating in front of him. Otherwise, I would have got the godly blade. Luo Feng was amazed. God. The black godly blade he had obtained was a godly blade of Blade River Luo. Luo Feng was aware of its power and force based on some brief descriptions. It was a top-tier domain-type true treasure, and it had the attacking power of that of a pinnacle true treasure. It was at least as valuable as Thousand Treasures River after all the blades merged with the compass. A voice came from afar. Quick! Tell us where the godly blade unveiled itself. Yes. Tell us now. We'll be there as soon as possible. We can kill those space beasts and get the godly blade together, after which the Thorn Ring Alliance will be willing to pay a high price for it. We can also give it to our alliance, and it will definitely give us many contribution points. I need to flee. Luo Feng thought, suddenly realizing that he was in great danger. Blade River. Kwang Ju Knight said and ran toward him. I have some issues to deal with right now, Kwang Ju Knight, said Luo Feng. I'll talk to you later. Luo Feng then disappeared, which bewildered Kwang Ju Knight. In the forest on the original star where Luo Feng was staying. Quick, 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 said Luo Feng. Remote Ocean Luo Feng and the Golden Horned Beast immediately stood up. Many great beings from Hong Alliance will gather soon, he said. I need to leave now. The Prison Race, the Hong Alliance, and the Northern Territory Alliance all saw the Black Blade when I got the valuable. Great beings from the Hong Alliance have now started to gather. They might not have enough time to stop me, but those from the Northern Territory Alliance and the Prison Race will be here very soon. Remote Ocean Luo Feng shrank to 6 feet tall and sat on Golden Horned Beast's back. Escape was his only option this time. The Golden Horned Beast was speedy when it came to fleeing, and he was the best at defending himself against dangers. The Golden Horned Beast became 30 feet long and opened his wing. He burned his godly power and flew. Under the burning godly power and the true treasure Shawu wing, he zoomed like a beam of golden light. At that moment, 2 universe overlords, Qi Blood Palace leader and Beifeng Knight of the Northern Territory Alliance, were flying toward him. The original star was enormous. Traveling at light speed, it took almost an hour to fly from the Whirlpool portal to the forest where Luo Feng stayed. That was why Qi Blood Palace leader and Beifeng Knight weren't there yet. As a matter of fact, the great beings from the Northern Territory Alliance were all rushing toward the original star Luo Feng was staying on, including Fu Mo Master. However, even Fu Mo Master had to fly toward the Whirlpool portal slowly. Each original star was identical, having a diameter of 60 billion miles. Even someone flying at light speed, he could only travel at 6 billion miles in an hour, meaning it would take a long time if they were far from the Whirlpool. The great beings gathered together by the Northern Territory Alliance were already rushing there as fast as they could. Finally, Qi Blood Palace leader and Beifeng Knight saw it. Look, it's the golden light. It's that Golden Horned Beast. They were racing toward Luo Feng from the Whirlpool, while Luo Feng rushed to the Whirlpool. Naturally, they could see each other midway. Both Remote Ocean Body and the Golden Horned Beast saw those 2 flashes of light. They might be some great beings from other races, but it's unlikely that they're here to come after me. How is it possible that they're that fast? Oh well. I'll just run to another original star later. The Golden Horned Beast kept flying, and he sometimes turned to keep the distance from those 2 traces of light. The 2 great forces made a sharp turn and got closer to him. No. They are after me. As soon as Luo Feng realized they were coming after him, he recognized them. The one with 3 horns. It's Qi Blood Palace leader from the Northern Territory Alliance. And it's Beifeng Knight beside him. Luo Feng immediately put his Remote Ocean Body back into his world ring. Both Qi Blood Palace leader and Beifeng Knight were universe overlords. And they were far from ordinary universe overlords. Generally, universe knights who reached the pinnacle level in law comprehension and technique creation, and could rival most mediocre universe masters, were considered universe overlords. However, universe overlords who had ordinary true treasures and those who had the senior treasures were at very different levels. Additionally, a human universe overlord was different from a universe overlord that was a special life form, with a life gene level of 8,000 times. As for Qi Blood Palace leader, he had a senior true treasure. And Beifeng Knight was a universe overlord proficient in soul attack. Space beasts, said a mild voice, there's no way you can run away. A deep voice immediately added, give us the blade. This video will end here.